Hey Insider, welcome back to our new journey. Can you all imagine that one day you get stuck in such a place from where escaping is far-fetched? In fact, you have to think 4 times even to stay alive. No rescue team can come to you. Nor do you have any reason to stay alive. And the last thing you have is no option to escape. No food to eat, no water to drink, but just one hope that maybe you can survive. What should we do at that time? Thinking about this thing. Guys, today I have brought in front of you all a story in which a girl has to stay alive, who neither had any reason to stay alive. But still, by getting motivated by thinking those things, she did not give up her hope. Rather, she kept herself alive. So let's go, guys. Without waiting, I take you to the story of today's movie, Life of Pi. In the beginning of the story, we are shown a lot of animals. Then we see Pi Patel in Pi's family. Pi lived with his older brother, his mother, and his father. Pi's father owned a zoo, which was their only source of income. But since their zoo is not doing well here, they all have to move from India to Canada to live permanently. And they have to take all the animals in their zoo with them, which, if they survive, they can earn a lot of money with which Pi's father can do some other business. It was the Western Pacific Ocean, which is the deepest deserted lake of the world. That is the deepest sea. There was a night where everyone was sleeping, but there was a lot of noise around them. Pi wakes up from his sleep and goes to the topmost edge of the ship. There was a very strong storm there, and with this, the rain was not stopping either. He was enjoying this for some time, but soon he realized that the waves of water were coming inside his boat. He remembers that his family is inside. He reaches the lower part of the ship where his family was sleeping, but after going down, water had filled everywhere, and he could not save his family. He comes up and meets the other people. He tells everyone to save his family as they are still down below, but all the people of that ship who are still alive take out a life post. They say that sit in this lifeboat and get out of here now. Whoever survives will be saved. He did not want to be pulled on that lifeboat, but the scene was such that some people were taking that boat down, and then a very frightened creature comes there and falls on that boat. It becomes so heavy that due to it, the people who were pulling it down, it falls safely from their hands. Now there was a boat inside that boat. There was no other human being inside that boat. Pai goes down and tries to find Shiva in it in the middle of the deep sea. But he sees that such a big boat was drowning only with the blinking lights. There was not a single human being left inside that boat. The crying party had no other option except to climb on that lifeboat. Inside the darkness, he sees that there is someone else who is trying to escape inside the water. When Pai goes to save him, he finds out that it was none other than Reade Pai, that is, a Bengal tiger, and who was now on this boat. The next morning, Pai climbs on that boat. He thinks that the water filled inside the boat should be removed. Along with the water, there was a tiger whose leg was broken. Within a short time, Pai also reaches there. That is a hyena. Now you all know that hyena is a carnivorous animal, but Pai understands that still it is a carnivorous animal. He is in a state of unconsciousness, and after that, he sees the championship. He also boards that boat. The name of that chimpanzee was Orange. Now that hyena is unable to control his hunger, and he attacks Jeevra and tries very hard to save him, but still that hyena kills that Jeevra. After killing Defta, that hyena was still hungry, and now when he attacks that chimpanzee, he did not want at all that the champion should be killed by the hands of that chimpanzee. He tries to kill that hyena, but before that, there is a fight between the chimpanzee and the hyena. The chimpanzee tries very hard to save him, but finally, that hyena loses that championship also. At this time, in the middle of the story, we come to know that Pimp was also riding inside that lifeboat. That is, he was hiding inside that boat, and you can report and kill that hyena as well. On seeing this thing, something goes inside the water to save itself. At this time, it had been many days since he was separated from the water. His condition had become very bad. He had no chance of saving himself. Nor did any rescue team reach there. At this time, he was inside the boat with a Bengal tiger. Inside that boat, Pai found some food items and also some water cans, but they were not going to last long. Inside that boat, a life-saving brigade was found on which it was written that if you ever get stuck in the middle of the ocean, then what should you do? Pai also started adopting the same things, i.e., singing songs, entertaining himself, keeping himself busy, and if possible, keep refreshing his old memories. One night, Pai was looking at that deep water. There he reaches inside his past, where he sees his family among the people. He sees how his mother always told him that never let your faith break as long as you are alive. You should have hope that you will be able to complete the journey ahead. Pai had a book, and along with it there was a pencil. He writes inside a tank of water and sends it that please help me. I am stuck in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with a Bengal tiger. Pai gets a map from that kit. But Pike did not know how to read. So he could never learn directions. Unless you have a reason to live, you cannot move forward. Pai had this reason at this time, that if he did not feed the hungry lion, then the hungry lion would fill his stomach. Pai picked up Pike, and Pai had biscuits and water, but he had nothing to feed Richard. So he starts fishing inside the water. One day, he brings drinking water for Richard in a bucket. He thinks that this thing will not last long. I will have to learn to maintain it with Richard, and how long can I stay on my own boat? That means he had to go to the main boat. One day, Richard Parker's hunger went out automatically. That's why he jumped into the water to eat the fish. But when he did not find anyone, he got scared and he was running towards Pai to kill the water. Pai, at this time, came back from the lifeboat to save his life. Pai had reached the boat and the small boat he had made had also pulled him back to his boat. On the other side, Pai was trying to climb the boat to save his life. But Pai was very angry at this time and he wanted to kill the animals. But when he looked into Richard's eyes, he was not able to do so at all. He was not able to kill the animal at all. After all, he had spent so many days of travel with that wild animal, so he works hard again to make a new boat. The boat remains in the water and tries to make Richard climb to the same point. One day, Pai catches a very big fish from inside that boat. He had no other option but to kill it and feed it to Richard. He unwillingly and crying kills that fish and gives it to Richard. Pai had never thought in his life that he would face a blue whale. Now when he was in the middle of such a big ocean, very big blue whales were revolving around him. With a single blow of those Las Vegas whales, Pai had killed the fish. Pai was very badly affected by the shock of the blue whale. His entire health was ruined. Pai was spending his day on a boat. One day, he reached a place where fish were passing through, and these fish were flying fish. That is, there were a lot of fish inside his boat. Pai brothers were climbing on this boat when a big fish came there. Richard and Pai both wanted to take that fish. Pai had finished his food completely, and due to a storm, his remaining food and water were lost there. He scares Rita and sends her away from there. He claims his right that this fish is now mine. Compulsions can make a person do anything. Pai was a vegetarian. He had to eat that fish even though he didn't want to. Now Pai knew that it wouldn't work like this. That is, he would be at another port, swinging inside the water. And Riches would be on this boat. Now both of them had to understand that how both of them could stay together inside the water. So Pai now trains the same. At this time, Pai had left and the condition of the receiver was getting worse. One night, Pai had searched a lot inside his memory. He was seeing his family everywhere, but still, he had not given up hope. The pencil that Pai had was also so worn out that he could not even write with it. But still, Pai was not giving up writing on that book. One night, such a strong storm comes there that even his small boat gets completely destroyed and a lifeboat on which he was staying gets filled with water very badly. He tells Richard that, see, God is helping us. That is why he removes the curtain that was put inside that boat. Pai later understands that the time he spent on the flat on spot was very important, and due to Ritz, Pai's condition was getting worse day by day. On the other hand, Richard was also with his I was counting down the last moments. Now he goes near the Bengal tiger, and on top of it, he runs his hand over it. In this bad time, there was no one near them. That is, there was not enough power left in the Bengal tiger that if a person was standing in front of him, he could kill and eat him. Rather, he was also just counting his breaths. Pai had kept his head in my lap. Both were now seeing their last moments, but the god had something else in mind for them. The next morning, they reach an island which was completely green. That is, they had water to drink and vegetables to eat. The whole island was full of cats, As soon as Richest reached there, he started eating cats. Pai also had sweet water and lots of vegetables and fruits to eat. After the night comes, he comes to know that something is wrong on this island. He sees that all the birds had started climbing the trees away from the island, and Richard had left that place and ran away on the boat. At night, he sees that the entire water has turned into acid and the fishes in that water are dying. While going there, he sees that there was a fruit on a tree, and inside that fruit was a human's tooth. We are shown that Irrfan Khan tells the reporter that it was a man-eating island, which means that if anyone lived on it, then that person would die. That is, the island looks beautiful during the day, but it becomes softer at night. If anyone had come here, then there was no other chance of survival except death. In the morning, he eats as much fruits and vegetables as he had space in his stomach, and also takes a lot of things with him. He thinks that if he stays on this island, he will also die like that hunter. He could not leave Richest at that place, so he brings a lot of lemons for Richard. He whistles and see how he climbs on that board, because that animal also knew that living on this island means dying. After a long journey, they finally reach a beach in Mexico. Rich gets down and starts moving towards the jungle. The party thinks that the bus will stop for recharge now, and the Manav will start talking to him. That means that in all these days of journey, there was no such thing between us, that he would stop and look at me at least once. Then, Irrfan Khan tells that at that time he cries a lot. He cries like a child. He does not cry because he has found a beach. He has found life. But he cries because the doctor did not even turn towards him once. You see, we feel the worst when we cannot say goodbye to someone. The bride asks if I can write this story. Then Irrfan Khan tells that uncle has sent you for this only, and friends, this is where our story ends. This is not a simple matter, that how a boy who had no reason to live inside such a big sea had only one motivation, that yes, he can eat, and with a fear that maybe he will be eaten by animals. It is better that he should marry a girl out of fear. And with this, friends, this story ends here. Guys, I want to ask all of you that do you all have such motivation that you do not lose hope even at the last moment? So come on, friends, I will meet all of you in the next story. Till then, guys, Tata.